All right, hello everyone. Tyler King here alongside Vinny Benedetto back post-game from Game 3 here in Denver between the Nuggets and the Thunder. Vinny, one of the strangest games we've probably covered in the last couple of years of these postseason runs for the Nuggets. It started off strange with Nikola Jokic being the last person you would ever expect to make a fashion statement on the way into the game with the looking like Heath Ledger's version of the Joker with the suit he wore on the way into the game. And in honor of Heath Ledger's character in the movie being an agent of chaos, Nikola Jokic decided to be an agent of chaos in many of the wrong ways in this game. But yet somehow the Nuggets win. What is the final score? 113 to 104 in overtime, stealing a game in which it's easily the worst playoff game Nikola Jokic has played since he became MVP. Nikola Jokic.
Mm-hmm.
He had some stinkers early in his postseason career, but not since he became this version of Nikola Jokic, the all-time kind of player. And somehow, stunningly, the Nuggets are up 2-1 in this second-round series against an OKC team that won 68 games in the regular season and had the best net rating in NBA history. But right now, they're the ones that kind of feel like they're on the ropes.
Yeah, it's hard to believe. I think a lot of people, when they saw the pregame fit, that I think a lot of people assumed Joker was going for
Guess the stat line was a fun game, yeah.
monster night. But what he scored 20 points on 25 shots.
Yeah, 8 of 25 from the field, 0 of 10 from 3. The previous most three-pointers he's missed in a playoff game without making one. He was 0 of 4 a couple times. 0 of 10 is just unfathomable for a guy who has had such a great season shooting the ball, excuse me.
Yeah, and then beyond the shooting, there was 8 turnovers. It was just
some inexplicable ones, yeah.
Some weird ones. There was a double. He got away with a double dribble. He committed to double dribble. So yeah, kind of to your point, the Nuggets have to feel good to win a game when you get that kind of uncharacteristic performance from Joker.
And Jamal Murray, maybe if you want to, took the metaphorical cape that was on the ground because Joker didn't pick it up and he put it on, especially in the second half there with some of the shot making he displayed. David Adelman credited his defense, especially there in the fourth quarter. I think Christian Brown was saying, yeah, it was mostly the fourth quarter because there was a couple defensive possessions early there in the first quarter where Jamal didn't look as active and engaged as you would like. That was kind of the symptom of the Nuggets as a whole, but the Nuggets really needed a performance like this from Jamal Murray, who we were going the entire press conference without even asking about the guy, and then you finally get a question to the DA at the end. Just what sticks out to you about what Jamal was able to do in this one?
Yeah, I mean, I think it does start for me kind of with that fourth quarter overtime defense. I saw something earlier today where the isolation, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander isolations on Jamal Murray were averaging 2 points per possession, which was the most exploited, one-on-one matchup so far this postseason. And there were points late where it was pretty obvious, the Thunder were hunting that matchup. And, Jamal was up to the challenge. And one thing David Adelman said post-game was just that, with all of the responsibilities Jamal takes on offensively, those were heightened tonight on an off night for Jokic, that it's tough to ask Jamal to be sit down and guard in a defensive stance for 47 minutes or however many he played tonight. So I think there is some kind of rationing his energy for the biggest moments, and it was another kind of one of those Jamal Murray closes we've gotten accustomed to seeing, but he just did in a little bit different fashion tonight.
Plenty of other guys in the Nuggets I would like to get to, but before we do that, Vinny, are you a little bit surprised at how poor the Thunder's late game execution has been in games 1 and 3? Obviously, the Thunder, I think, are still plus 30 something across the 3 games of the series, but they're the ones down 2-1. It really feels like at this point the Thunder are going to have to win comfortably to win these games, with not just the offense kind of crumbling down the stretch, but their defense as well. It felt like SGA had a chance to win the game late. It felt like that shot probably should have went to Jalen Williams with how well he had played tonight. But it just feels like the Thunder as a whole still have not gotten over the young team hurdle that you have to get over in some of these clutch playoff games, because the Nuggets have just simply outclassed them in the last 5 minutes of games 1 and 3.
Yeah,
and the overtime as well, I should say, obviously.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of a weird drawback of how dominant they were in the regular season. Of their 68 wins, I think 54 were by
they didn't play in a lot of close games.
10 or more points, and I think they only won one possession game in the regular season. Like they got 1 or 2 more against the Grizzlies in the first round.
Yeah.
But this is just kind of a situation, especially on the road. They're just not really accustomed to being in, and it feels like, I don't know if it'll, be the difference in this series, but so far, I don't think the Nuggets are up 2-1 if the Thunder are a little bit more seasoned in these kind of environments.
Getting back to the Nuggets, Michael Porter Jr. had a huge game, especially in that first half. 15 of his 21 points came in that first half when nothing was going well for the Nuggets offensively. He was making catch and shoot threes. He was making some tough shots off the. I mean, he was just incredible for given how poor he played in games 1 and 2. Now, David Adelman said something that he felt like Michael Porter was 2 of 8 in game 2 from 3. The 2 threes came at a point late in the game where maybe it helped him get into a rhythm, and it seemed like it carried over tonight. And we talked before the game about who's going to play more between Michael Porter Jr. and Russell Westbrook, and Michael Porter Jr. I think far exceeded the expectations that we probably had for him in this game.
Yeah,
and they needed it, his performance. Yeah.
The wild thing to me is like Mike's either been great or like non-existent.
Yeah.
There hasn't been like
no in between,
a C+ or B- game from Mike. So yeah, I think that kind of is going to be a challenge to navigate over the remainder of the season and the remainder of the postseason, because like however far the Nuggets go, they could go to the finals and play 7 games, and that shoulder's still not going to be close to 100%. So I think it's something that is just going to have to be monitored closely. But yeah, the shot making, especially early on a night where Nikola didn't have it going, was massive.
We're almost 7 minutes into this, and we haven't talked about the guy who hit probably the biggest shot in the game, Aaron Gordon, who hit the three-pointer in the corner over there when the Nuggets were down by 3 at the end of regulation. I mean, he's had 2 game winners in this postseason already, and this one felt like maybe the biggest shot he's hit so far, just in terms of what this game may mean for the series. He's had the best shooting season of his career by far, whether it's confidence or just taking a ton of them during the offseason or mechanical tweaks with his shot. It just feels like he's a guy that when he shoots a shot like that late in the game, you think it's going in at this point, which is kind of stunning for the player that the Nuggets acquired over 4 years ago at this point.
Yeah, and like I remember thinking late in the regular season, like the 3-point percentage was a little bit misleading because it was like he missed 20, 30 games of the regular season. It wasn't a full sample size. I thought teams were going to continue to dare him to shoot in the postseason. But it's not just like the easy catch and shoot threes.
He's not every shot's wide open.
No, and he's still shooting it at a pretty high clip. Like the transformation is pretty remarkable. The clutch shot making is insane, and then you factor in, the personal stuff he's had going on, the injuries the regular season.
The calf still is probably not 100%.
Yeah, it's just a remarkable. What is this? 10 games from 10-game postseason run from Aaron Gordon so far. I've run out of words, and like to your point, we made it 7 minutes without mentioning him. We're just used to clutch Aaron Gordon at this point. Michael Porter Jr. in his post game said, like, I feel like we've got 2 of the best closers in Jamal and Joker, and then he had to throw AG in that group.
Feels like he's quickly becoming like an all-time Nugget kind of guy, whether it's 50 or 32 or both. It feels like that could be something that goes up in the rafters over there when his playing career is all said and done, because I think people call him Mr. Nugget. It seems like this has become the team and the identity that people will remember his basketball career by. But the one thing I wanted to wrap up with, just kind of looking at this series as a whole, I mentioned this earlier, the Nuggets are still probably minus 30-something after the 3 games in this series. Have you learned anything from the first 3 games of the series that I had the Nuggets losing in 5, so obviously that's not going to happen. I'm wrong. You had them losing in 6, which means the Thunder would have to win the next 3 games of the series. I mean, where has the series gotten to at this point after these 3 games, and what are you expecting from a very quick turnaround to 1:30 p.m. Mountain Time on Sunday for Game 4?
Yeah, I mean, Game 4, it feels like Oklahoma City certainly has the advantage in depth.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised.
They're still playing 10 guys, and it feels like that has to shorten at some point.
Especially, I mean, their backs are against the wall now. More than they have been to any point so far this postseason, obviously. So yeah, I feel like that'll get shortened. It doesn't feel well. I feel like Peyton Watson gave the Nuggets good minutes tonight. So I feel like he's kind of a guy who's kind of faded from
I asked him about that post game, just kind of how he faded out of the rotation in Minnesota series last year in round 2, and now this year he's blown his minutes total out of the water in through 3 games this series. I think he played almost 17 minutes off the bench tonight. Was a +7, hit a couple big threes, had a big block. So he's kind of given the Nuggets a strong 7th guy at this point.
And then I think the only thing that I've really learned about this team, and I think we kind of saw it in the Clippers series, is just like they have kind of come together. You know, a little bit like they're multiple times it felt like they could have just like seen the writing on the wall in the Clippers series and said this,
1, 2, 3 Cancun kind of thing.
This isn't our year. Beach sounds nice when you're getting snow and rain in April and May here in Denver. But yeah, I think they're a pretty connected group right now. They're sharing in the joy. Like everyone, I think, is rallying around Aaron Gordon and really enjoying seeing him kind of have the spotlight and be the guy in the big moments. So yeah, I think this group. There were fair questions about how connected they were at different points in the season, but I think the team as a whole right now is in a pretty good spot.
All right, that'll do it from Vinny and I here from Ball Arena. We've got full coverage from this game in Saturday's Denver Gazette, even though it is approaching 1 a.m. when we're recording this on Saturday after a late one here. And like I said, a very quick turnaround for Sunday afternoon's Game 4, which Vinny and I will have preview stories leading up to that game in Sunday's Denver Gazette. And obviously we'll be back right here to preview the game before the game. And after the game, we'll recap everything that's happened and see what the series has, if there's yet another twist the series has for us, because it's been exciting so far. So thanks everybody for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and go check out all of our coverage at denvergazette.com.